All right, today we're going to dig into a corporate war you've probably never even heard of, but this thing was huge. It was a high-stakes rivalry fought not with planes in the sky, but with computer terminals and back offices, and it literally built the foundation of all modern travel.
I mean, think about this for a second. It seems like such a simple question today, right? You just pull out your phone. But seriously, go back in time. No web. How could a travel agent in, say, Chicago, possibly know the real-time seat availability and price for a dozen different airlines at once? This was a monumental problem, and it's what set the whole stage for our story.
Well, the answer takes us back to the late 1970s. This was a time when data was becoming this new kind of corporate power, and databases, they were being forged into weapons.
And look, I'm not exaggerating here. The future of the airline industry, it wasn't being decided by fancier planes or even cheaper tickets. It was a full-blown technological arms race, and the weapon of choice? These massive, room-sized databases that could juggle millions of pieces of flight information.
Okay, so this war basically had two main players. On one side, you had the incumbent, the big dog, American Airlines. They had this revolutionary system called Sabre. It was the first of its kind, and it gave them a huge head start. But a challenger was rising fast, United Airlines, and they were building their own rival system called Apollo.
So American Sabre might have been first out of the gate, but United Airlines, they were not about to be left in the dust. They knew they had to hit back, and their response would officially ignite the whole conflict.
In 1971, that's the year it all kicks off. United officially launches its Apollo system. They're directly challenging Sabre's dominance. And believe me, this started one of the most important business rivalries you've probably never ever heard of.
But here's the thing, Apollo wasn't just a copy-paste job. Oh no, United did their homework. They looked at what Sabre did and basically said, okay, we can do this but better. They mirrored the core design but improved on it, promising faster response times, getting it into more agencies, and even giving it a slicker interface for the agents. It was built to win.
So you've got these two tech titans duking it out, but what exactly were they fighting over? The prize wasn't just about who had the cooler tech, it was all about controlling where the money changed hands. This is where the computerized reservation system, or CRS, comes in. You gotta understand, this thing was the gateway to the customer. Back then, before the internet, travel agencies were king. And if you could get your computer terminal onto an agent's desk, well, you basically controlled which flights they booked. Controlling the CRS meant controlling the industry. And this battle for the travel agencies, it literally carved up the country. It was like a turf war. American Sabre pretty much owned the East Coast, locking down a major stronghold. At the same time, United's Apollo just surged through the Midwest and all the way out west, staking its own claim.
But this fight didn't just stay in one place. As the stakes got higher and higher, the tactics got way more aggressive, and the whole battlefield blew up from a U.S. rivalry to a full-on global brawl.
And the tactics they used? Absolutely relentless. They'd try to lock agencies into these exclusive long-term deals. They'd brag, hey, our system gets you the new prices faster, which was a huge deal for an agent trying to get the best deal for a customer. And of course, they rolled out loyalty programs, giving bonuses and all kinds of perks to agencies that sent the most business their way.
I mean, you can see how this whole thing just snowballed, right? It kicks off in '71, heats up across the U.S. through the '70s, but then, right here in 1987, everything changes. Apollo grows into a global system called Galileo, and right after that, boom, you have new global players jumping in, like Amadeus and WorldSpan. The whole game went international.
Okay, so why should you care about some dusty old business fight from decades ago? Because I promise you, the fallout from this war is something you probably use every single time you plan a vacation.
See, at the end of the day, this intense competition wasn't just about one airline beating another. It actually forced them to build this incredibly powerful globe-spanning network that inadvertently built the digital backbone that the entire modern travel industry still runs on today.
And you can see the direct descendants of these systems today. They're like the modern empires of travel tech, born from the ashes of this war. Sabre, still a massive player. And Apollo's lineage? That became Galileo, which is now part of a huge company called Travelport. And you have Amadeus, which became a giant in its own right. These are the survivors.
So seriously, the next time you're on your phone or your laptop booking a flight, just take a second and remember this story. That ability to instantly search thousands of flights from hundreds of airlines, that isn't just a miracle of the modern web. It's all built on the back of this knockdown, drag-out fight between American and United.
And that really makes you think, doesn't it? The tools we take for granted every day are so often born from these forgotten rivalries. It makes you wonder, what wars are happening right now, maybe in AI, maybe in cloud computing, that are quietly building the essential stuff we're all going to be using tomorrow?